Hello and welcome back to some more Shadowverse Worlds Beyond. Today we're going to be taking a look at Spellboost Rune. Spellboost Rune is really kind of my nemesis as a deck. I've tried a few times to make videos on this and have really struggled with consistency, with even really getting many wins at all, due to a couple factors, which we'll go over as we go through the video itself and at the end of the video. But I've had kind of a string of good games, so I'm thinking that maybe, just maybe, I've sort of unlocked the way that this deck needs to be played. This deck contains a few new cards, key being Ginger, Disastrous Word. Ginger has summon 2 copies of Guardian Golem and summons an extra one on Evo, but its important feature is the whenever another allied follower enters the field, give it Rush and Spell Boost your hand. So this is 3 Spell Boosts with Guardian Golem, if you evolve it, and then additional spell boosts from either low-cost cards like Lin Call, or from cards that have discounted prices. So Sammy and Marie, discounted on Spell Boost. We've got Woodsong Haiku Master, which is also reduced cost on Spell Boost, and then Aura, reduced cost on Spell Boost. So combining all those things, you're able to do some really quick spell boosting to put your Tetra and Latika up to Spell Boost 20 to give them the second swing, because Send and Packing is a give a follower on the field attack 2 times per turn. Latika has Storm, Super Evolve, that's 16 damage. Then you take Lin Call to reduce your opponent's maximum HP to that 16 marker, or lower if you can, and you have a recipe for a one-shot. So let's go ahead and play a couple games with this deck, and we'll meet back up at the end and talk about how I feel it's performing, how I feel that potentially you shouldn't give up on this deck right away if you're struggling with it, because of how important I think playing this deck and getting comfortable with it is to actually seeing success with it. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into the game here. It looks like we are going to be up against Forestcraft. Forestcraft really has only 2 main decks in the meta right now. You've got either your old school Evo Forest that relies on the big Evo threats into an eventual kill with like an Othenia or something along those lines, or pushing to 10 Evolves. Then you have a more tempo-oriented Forest, which I've covered in a video in the past. And then actually I do know that I've seen a few more decks recently running the buff Forestcraft, so I'm wondering if that might be making a comeback. So, mulligan here, none of this is really great. I think we're going to keep these, though. I'm going to cross back Ginger. It's a little dangerous to do that. I definitely like holding it, but I think it's more important to shoot for an early Latika. I also don't love the fact that I don't have any draw in this hand, so in all honesty, that I took too long explaining how Forest works, and I didn't focus too much on my mulligan, and that may cost me pretty badly here, because this is a really bad starting hand. I'm going to remove that. The good news is we have Ticos to deal with some more tempo-y stuff, because it does look like that's what our opponent is doing. He does not have any aggressive, or excuse me, Evo Crest, so we're fairly certain that's what's happening. We are going to just go ahead and use Amethyst here. We're going to take 3, if that's okay. We'll use Tico next turn. Plus a World of Games, hopefully get some decent card draw. And hopefully
Every insect needs a queen.
What prices do we face today?
Alright, so he is going super low. That is perfectly fine though. We do have Evos now, so we should be able to at least get a little bit.
Magical aptitude? Me?
So we've got a couple different thoughts here. We can either clear as much as possible and hope that the Mysterium Missiles hit the O3 by trading first, or we can just pop the Mysterium Missiles, see where they go, and decide what we're going to trade with. I think we are going to go ahead and trade first, missile twice, and hope one hits the O3. Fortunately no such luck, so the O3 does live. We'll have a couple more shots at it next turn with a second Tico, but not ideal for sure. Curiosity Bounds just summons a bunch of dudes. This is a pretty strong board for our opponent here. So we are not feeling super great. He also buffed this up to 1/4 now, so it will not die to a Tico, which is realistically slightly worse than him. Alright, we're probably playing Tico, so we're good to draw. If we are dropping something, what will we draw? I think it is going to be... It sucks dropping Sammy and Marie, but I think that's the plan. I think everything else is too important. Alright, we did get a Lin Call. Let's go ahead and run that out.
This is your journey's first page. Take a step.
Trade here, then we're going to tap. Go Tico.
Magical aptitude?
And he did thankfully attack with his 1/4, so we can actually clear that so we can get the full draw.
I'll work hard, ready,
And now we just have to hope that one of these Mysterium Missiles hits the 3/3.
Hey.
Beautiful. And that'll just remove the barrier. So we will take another at least 4 here if he doesn't buff it. This is the power of Temple Forest. He's just able to keep 1 or 2
Well,
things
this
alive
looks fun.
at the end of each turn and then buff them like crazy.
Flip a card. Try again.
Don't look away.
Oops.
Alright, just playing some more fairies. Nothing too scary out of this. We don't love to see it, but you know, it's still not ideal. Okay, what do we got here? Amethyst, where are you at? You're 2. I could play Tico again. That would be mildly funny. In all reality, I think this might be our best play. If we play Tico, that's going to drop us down to 1 cost, and then we can play something else. This is a 4. I think we'll start with that. Then we're going to drop Tico.
Magical aptitude? Me?
Super.
Let's dive deeper. Oh, it's a ready or not.
4/4. Syrian Mysterian.
Cultivate your mind.
And then we will Metamorphosis. We're actually going to drop Harmonious, which sucks. I hate doing that. But we're so far into the deck already, and this is our first copy of Tetra. So we're not going to win based off of Tetra. It's just too far in, we don't have enough spell boost left. We also don't have any Gingers in hand, so there's a very, very good chance that we're not going to win this game. He's going to go ahead and play that with Super Evo. He's going to crack us for 7. Not ideal. We are already down to 5 HP, which is, believe it or not an HP I want to be at. So we're going to start by Amethysting. Heal up a bit.
Yes, my dear sister.
We're going to play one of the auras.
Is to transform.
Wills United. Reanimate 2.
None
And
can
at this
be your
point,
future.
we need to drop. So we're just going to play some cards and hope to God we pull a Ginger.
Speaks through me.
There she is. Okay. So if we do not die, which is unfortunately probably what's going to happen here, we actually have an okay hand here to maneuver into the next game.
Will warm ya.
Good news here, playing Matt has actually really nice for us. Here.
I see.
All of his cards are now going to Evo. The first card played per turn, excuse me, is going to Evo.
Scan.
Which is not great, but not horrible. I'm definitely
Cards know nothing.
I'm definitely more scared of some other Super Evolved targets, so the fact that he's out of them is actually good for us here. Alright, we're gonna put Ginger on the board.
Most dangerous lie.
Unfortunately, we cannot
I
Super
was
Evo.
foolish,
Oh,
wasn't I?
okay. Apparently, our opponent really didn't like the idea of Ginger coming out.
Victory.
Great. I don't know that we had that game unless he had just an absolutely garbage hand. I feel like we were still not in a great position, but you know what? Sometimes the bluff of playing something scary is enough to get your opponent just to bounce. So, all right, I'll take it. I'll take it. A win's a win. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into the next game here. Looks like we're going to be up against Runecraft. Now, Runecraft is almost exclusively going to be Crystal Rune right now. There are still some holders on, like myself, that are running Spellboost, and even more people that are hanging on and running a
Why limit
more...
yourself to one dimension?
What's the word I'm looking for? A more Dirt Rune style, excuse me. So... it is possible that he's not Crystal, but Crystal is, as you see, by far the most popular deck in the meta right now. It is very, very strong, it is very tough to beat, and it is very likely we're going to see that in action here today. So we got a choice here, we can tap or we can not tap, and play out another one of the games. We're not going to tap here. I think I'd rather save that extra play point for a turn that is more necessary.
For me.
He's going to run out a couple 1/1s. It's alright, we're going to take a little bit of damage in the early stages, that's okay. We'll play out some more draw. And there we go, we got our first Tetra. This is a much, much quicker Tetra than in our previous game. So we can actually potentially start spell boosting quickly. Also, the double World of Games opening means that we can draw a lot more cards, which is very, very important. We've got some choices here. I think we're just going to Foresight, though, because that's going to auto-draw us a couple cards. Call is a great draw, so we're going to go ahead and pop her down.
First, take a step.
Clear the 1/1. That is going to have that in our death pool, so we can pull it with Wills United. In addition to that, this is going to draw us 2 cards, up to 8. We're going to draw our normal card next turn for 9, so we are sitting pretty in terms of our draw. We'll be at max cards.
My heart hurts.
Running out of Shim here, that's not surprising. He played the Reaped Order, which really only draws Shim and Calgaidente, so we're not surprised to see him play Shim.
Magical
We'll go ahead and play
aptitude.
our Tico here. Ooh, we did make a tiny mistake there. We lose out on one copy of Mysterious Missiles. We should have played Stormy first. Because of that, we're actually probably going to save our Stormy. Do we save it or do we use it? I think we just use it, actually. We'll use the Stormy. Since we have another card we can play, we could theoretically capture Stormy. We're going to do that here. As I mentioned in the intro, we prefer to save these cards for either a moment where we have to play them, because we just don't have the cards we need and we need them right now, or we're going to
Yes, my dear sister.
play them with Ginger.
Anything
So,
for me.
anything that isn't that, we're not going to do now. Alright, opponent's just going to trade a little bit, nothing crazy there. We are fine with that. This will be active here, so we're going to go ahead and card our new heal. That heals us for 2 and spell boosts our hand twice, 1 for the spell, 1 for the effect on the spell. That gets this up to at least 5 spell boosts, so this will restore some defense, doesn't matter here. More importantly though, it'll give us some mana back.
Yes, my dear sister.
Alright, so we're sitting at 2. We got some choices here. We could play a card, we could not play a card. I think at this point, the only thing I'm even considering is... Yeah, you know what? I'm going to tap, since we're going to lose it anyway, and
Yes,
play
my
that.
dear sister.
Okay. And to make sure we don't overdraw, we'll just go ahead and pop the Harmonious. Alright, Tetra is at 8. We can show spell boost here. Tetra is getting there. We're about halfway to the magical number 20. We have 1 Linkall Blade, so his defense is still sitting at 20. We definitely need a few more of those, or some Wills United to pull them. Our opponent didn't do anything. That is surprising. So we'll go ahead and pop the Foresight here. Man. What's he at? He's at 8 cards. I could theoretically play out one of my Sammys. That just sucks to do. Let's go ahead and play out Tico.
Magical aptitude? Me?
I could Super Evo here, but that feels silly. So we're not going to do that. I think we just pop a Mysterian and just pass here. I really don't love it. Not having a Ginger in the top half of that sucks. We do have 1 Tetra and Latica that is half active, so we can play that as a board clear. So that's helpful, plus it will take damage to the face. That takes the place a little bit, potentially, of a
Anything for
second
me.
and third call, because that's 5 extra damage to his face. And I think that is probably what we'll play this turn. Yeah, with the Wills, we're definitely just going to play this. This is partially active.
Or a Delta
We'll play out 1 copy of this, use a Delta
Delta
Cannon,
cannon. Fire. Look
and then we're going to swing face. Our second Latica still quite a bit behind, unfortunately, and he's probably going to heal most of this with the Calgadenta, as well as hit us a little bit. We are at full HP, which helps, but once again, the fact that we don't have a Ginger yet in the top half really hurts us. I do only have 2 in the list right now.
the end
I'm
for
very
you.
strongly considering adding a 3rd one. It's kind of a dead card in some cases, but man, it's so helpful in getting those spell boosts up to an amount that matters. So we're going to go ahead and Wills United out another Linkall,
This is your journey's first
and then we're going to go ahead and our Dawn Blossom,
Humanity must change or be doomed.
and we're going to Evo.
I'm rather disappointed.
Flush him out.
This allows on Evo to turn a card into a 4/4 bird. Bird is going to swing.
Shall we
We're
play?
trade there. Use this. Active you are. Then we're going to tap for this.
Yes,
And we are
my
definitely
dear
at the point
sister.
here where we can start considering using some of these Sammys. I think we're going to use it in a weird way. No, we are going to go ahead and use the Sammy.
Blooms with magic.
That puts us on 8 cards. I think we just Harmonious here. Keeps our health a little bit higher. And pushes Latica to 17. Which is not quite where we want it, but it is as close as I think we're going to get it. We can play another Sammy here. I think that's fine. We've got 1 left.
Blooms with
These
magic.
Gingers, which are not in the top third of our deck, or excuse me, not third, top 3/4 of our deck now, which is unfortunate. And the bottom 11 cards are both copies of Ginger.
My heart.
Alright, there comes Shim. That will be the last super.
Let's end
He's
this.
going to heal a little bit with it, so we will need 1 more copy of the Recall,
I love you.
which is okay because we do have at least 1 more turn before we use Ginger on it.
Enjoyed the show.
So that's not a big
Enjoyed the
deal.
show.
Overwrite.
Myself.
Other option here is we can Super Evo Tico and hold with the spells. Oh, nope, we got the Wind Call. Excellent. Okay. Taking a look at our hand here, I think we start with a Lin Call.
This is your journey's first page.
Then we're going to use this on probably Woodsong. I don't think that's going to hit the board. It's another Worlds United. That's not super needed here. Okay, I think we just Aura.
Humanity
Bam.
must change or be doomed.
I'm so
And then we
happy.
can Stormy Blast one. Super Evo. Turn it into a bird. And in this case, in this range, we want to be sitting at as high
The
of
dawn
HP
blossom
as we can.
bloom, shall we play?
For next turn, we could draw here, we could not draw here. I think we're fine just to not draw.
My blade will
Alright, Olivia is annoying. Olivia gives him his supers back,
Flesh
and it's a
and
big ass
soul.
body that we can't clear with just using
Without
Latka.
love,
So we have to clear it with something else, which is a problem considering we don't have a lot of something else's. So, oh, Ginger's nice here. Do we Ginger? I think we do, because Latka we can activate with Wills United, but we won't be able to get through here unless we get really lucky with this hitting this for 3. Do we risk that? I think we're gonna play, if we miss, we can just Ginger, so I think we risk the 33% chance. And, oh my god, we got it. Huzzah! Sometimes you just gotta risk it for the biscuit.
Delta cannon, fire!
And that is the full combo. You get your opponent down to 16 max health,
Going all
and then you
in.
crack him twice in the face for 16 damage, and that's all she wrote. Fantastic, that's a really good highlight of this game, and the fact that it can beat the best deck in the meta, which is Crystal Rune. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into the game here. Looks like we're going to be up against Portalcraft. Now, Portalcraft has a few variants in terms of what their decks are right now. You have the top end, which is going to be Big Portal or Evo Portal, that focuses on the 5+ cards. I've posted a deck review of that. Then we have the more standard Tempo Storm Portal. And then finally we have a more egg-based portal, so Destruction Portal. In terms of the discard here, we're going to keep 1 copy of Sammy, drop the Harmonious Meals. Those are not very good here in the beginning. Keep a Stormy Blast just to deal with some early aggression if our Portal player opponent is going to do so. So right off the rip here, we've got Lin Call. We play Lin Call. Pretty straightforward. Portal's the only deck that Lin Call can be kind of annoying into in doing this combo because of the fact that if he gets us a 3/3 in the pool with the Dewdrop, that takes priority with Wills United. So we do have to be a little bit more careful. We don't have to be that
Take a
careful,
step.
but we do have to be a little bit more careful.
Take a step.
We'll go ahead and clear his card with a Stormy Blast there, just to continue to maintain a little bit of board presence, because we're not going to have very many options here in the early portions of the game. We can play Tico next turn if we have to. We prefer to save it, though, for the Evo turn, which is turn 5 for us. So, prefer to go that route, but we don't have to go that route if we do need to clear some ring stuff. So, our opponent not playing anything, we love to see that. We could Harmonious Meal here. It would reduce the costs of these 3 cards. We don't really need to do that, though, and I'd much prefer to save these for a
Take a
turn when we have
step.
Latka in hand. So we are actually going to do nothing. Ludicrous Ordnance into the field, that's fine, not a big deal. We'll be able to clear that with Tico, no problem at all.
Magical aptitude.
And while we're doing that, clearing with Tico, we're going to reduce the cost of a lot of the cards in our hand, keeping them nice and low for our eventual, hopefully this time, Ginger turn. We also buffed our Stormy Blast up a little bit, which is nice. Harmonious Meal can turn this from 4 damage to 6 damage, which would be nice because, once again, it restores 2 defense to my leader and spell boost to the hand. So you get the spell boost from playing a spell, and then you get an additional spell boost on top of that. So this is 2 spell boosts. We are definitely getting to the point where playing our draw cards may be necessary. We don't have a lot of options in this hand, so starting to draw at least a little bit is probably good. We'll prioritize playing Sammy and Marie, as this spell boosts in addition to drawing a card, and it also only draws 1 card. Alright, we do have World of Games. That is lovely. We'll go ahead and drop that down. I would love to save our Harmonious Meal. I think we're going to. We're just going to go ahead and drop it.
Blooms with magic.
Not ideal, but not the worst case scenario. We are going to run out of this play point. It refreshes in 1 turn, so we might as well play Harmonious now. Buff up these 2 Amethysts. Then we'll just go ahead and Evo. We'll kill this 1/1. This one is more important because it gives following artifact followers that enter the field rush. So, clearing that.
Talk about a bummer.
Alright, we are staying at 20 HP, which is nice. Based off the way he's playing, it could still be either Storm Tempo or it could be Big Portal. He hasn't played anything that screams one way or another. The 2/2 earlier is a little bit more played in the Tempo version. And this card here does tell me that this is almost certainly just going to be the Tempo Storm. So we don't have to worry about those huge followers in that game. We just have to worry about his crazy potential in terms of damage. And seeing him using an Evo on this to push damage also helps confirm that. So let's see what we get off the top here. This is going to be very important for what we're going to do. Foresight is fine, we just play that. Foresight 2 is even better. Lin Call, okay. I think we are going to play that. So we're going to play this with the Super Evo.
Journey's first
Note we are playing this with the Super Evo before we draw the Amethyst, because we're going to put a bunch of recalls in our deck. That's an alternate win condition to this list if you're not able to get that Latica early, which we have not managed to do. So we'll go ahead and Amethyst,
Yes, my
draw a
dear
couple
sister.
things.
My
We did
father.
lose one copy of this earlier, so we can go ahead and reanimate one to another copy,
This is your take a step.
which is fantastic. So now that we're sort of pivoting off of the idea of doing a true spell boost and focusing a little bit more on the Lin Calls, now we can play out these cards here because we're less concerned about getting that Latica up to its total spell boost. So it doesn't need to combo with Ginger as much. Now we can focus on getting our Amethysts cheaper, getting as many draws as possible, because we want to pull as many Lin Calls as we can to hopefully reduce our opponent to at least 8 HP, so that the Dry Latica, which is just a 5/5 Storm, 8/8 Super Evolve, can kill our opponent. Alright, our opponent's going to play Camisilla, so that is more of a staple in the 5+ card list, but this one does do damage to your face, so I do see Temple Storm players run this quite a bit too. It is pretty annoying in this situation, but not the end of the world. You have Aura to deal with this, and a Stormy Blast to continue, as well as Tico for some of those additional damage hits. So we're going to start with the Aura, clear that 9/9,
Is to transform.
then we can draw a bit. That is perfectly fine. This will also heal us.
Yes, my dear
Good.
sister.
Not the greatest in the world, but not horrible either. I think we will go ahead and Harmonious Meal.
Great mother.
Then we're going to go ahead and go here. That should activate this Amethyst. Give us 2 mana
Yes, my
back.
dear
Which gives us
sister.
something to
No
call,
one can know your future.
which we
Take
can
a
use to
step.
trade in.
Oh,
Now, do we Stormy Blast the 2/1 is the question. We're at 19 HP. If he Super Evos it, we're at 15. I think we're good to hold this here, which means we'll just which is going to override him a little bit more, which we love to see. And then actually, we are going to tap and play only call.
no one can know your future. Take a step.
I think that's perfect.
Too slow.
So we've got him down to 12. We need 2 more not Laticas, Lin Calls for Tetra to activate. We are out of draw in our hand, which is probably the most concerning bit. But hopefully we'll get lucky enough to pull some more here in a minute. This deck does rely on a lot of draw and cycle cards, so that allows you to make this pivot to go to a more Lin Call heavy build if you feel like you don't have that Tetra and Latica early enough. Because if I had stayed with whole focusing on Tetra and Latica, I wouldn't have drawn this until 23 cards left in the deck, and I would have had a lot of trouble getting this up to that prerequisite 20 spell boost to get that second swing for the 16 damage. So pivoting here allows us to actually handle reducing his health to a point so we don't need that extra spell boost. So while it's not the name of the deck, it is still very good. So we're immediately
Enjoyed the show.
rewarded for the way we decided to play that, because our Stormy is retained, so we're able to potentially play that here next turn to remove this. And he is going to trade.
The fun begins.
Alright, we got another Lin Call. I think we will do Tico.
Magical
Or
aptitude.
this.
Me?
Yo, that
And we'll
hurt.
play one more
This is your
Lin
journey's
Call.
first page.
Now, here we have a choice. We can play Tico again. That gives us 3 Mysterious Missiles for free. that are each going to do 1 damage. That'll take him down to 7. But if we use our Super Evo, we'll only have 5 damage from Tetra. So I think the play here is just to retain as we are. So we'll go ahead and do this as is. We can still use that Super Evo on Tico next turn if we need to, but we're going to hope that we don't have to. We're doing relatively well with our draw. We're getting cards when we need them. We just need 1 more Lin Call, and then the game effectively is over. Downside is, like I said, we don't have any additional draw, so we're going to have to play this a little more carefully. We do have Stormy Blast to deal with a big follower if we need to. We do have a very high health total, so I do feel pretty comfortable here, but we're definitely not out of the woods yet. This tempo Storm Portal list can come out of nowhere really quickly and do a lot of damage. So we're going to take 9 now. We're down to 10 HP, just like that. So very, very, very annoying. We do have some heals still in list, so we're not dead by any stretch of the imagination here. But this deck can really run stuff over. Excuse me, he did just use a standard though. Alright, second Latica is interesting. I think we will go ahead and run that out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to Stormy Blast this down. And we're going to go ahead and run out the Latica.
You're pretty tough.
Oh, and apparently he thinks we played the Latica and just the sight of the Latica was enough of a bluff for our opponent to think that we had the special Latica with the 20 spell boost. We didn't in this case. It also could have been that he saw the card come down and went, oh man, I'm going to take 8 here, I'm at 2 HP, it's not worth it. That's fine. We're happy enough with that as well. So, really solid games, really had a good sort of mixture of how this deck works in a couple different ways, and why I think that this deck is better than I initially gave it credit for. And that is going to be Spellboost Runecraft. Like I mentioned at the end of the last game, these 3 games were fantastic at sort of displaying the strengths of this deck. This deck has the ability to go up against those strong meta lists. It has the ability to pivot if needed, if you don't draw those important cards. I think one of my big problems when I was first piloting this list is I was going all in on the idea of Tetra and Latica, which you don't have to do. You can Lin Call him down with a bunch of minus HP levels to slowly whittle them to the point where Tetra and Latica can finish even without the spell boost. So I think this is definitely a deck worth trying out, especially if you have some of the key cards. I will say it is on the more expensive side. You do have Lin Call, Tetra Latica, Aura, and Ginger as the legendaries, so it can be a little bit pricey. Not that most of the other decks aren't, but I think this is worth giving a shot if you like the style. Thanks so much again for watching, of course, and if you liked the video, feel free to leave a like or subscribe. And then if you'd like to see anything in particular in terms of decks, or me cover or play specific things, feel free to drop a comment below. Thanks again for watching, and have a fantastic rest of your day.